So, on your backs, take a moment to sense your contact with the floor, how the floor is coming into you. It's an interesting question. How do you lie on the floor? How do you rest on the floor? And how does the floor come into you? And where is that place of neither right nor left? And could you, for a moment, just in your mind, sense the length of yourself from the top of your head to the sole of the right foot? Just sort of meander with your attention on that side, through that right side, from the sole of the foot to the top of the head. How does the floor press into you all along that side? And then come to the place that's neither right nor left. And then thinking of the sole of your left foot and the top of your head, the highest point of the top of your head, as you meander through yourself on your left side. And then if you were to compare the right side to the left side, what are the differences there? How does the floor inform you of differences? How does your sense of weight inform you of differences? And then come to the place again that's neither right nor left. And from this place, could you, paying with great attention to the minutiae of the movement, could you begin to roll your head to the right? And then coming back to the places neither right nor left, where the head is, maybe we say neutral. And begin to do that movement again, and do it several times in your own timing, but pay attention to whether your eyes are open or closed. Maybe closed is best for this observation, but do your eyes tend to look up or down or directly to the side? What do your eyes do as you begin to roll your head to the right? And if you were to do something slightly different than this unrecognized pattern that is now conscious to you, how might that change how you roll your head? And then with the same quality of attention, could you roll your head a bit to the left, but paying attention to what is the eye pattern? Do your eyes tend to look up or down? Does the chin, how does the chin relate to the shoulder? How does the ear relate to the floor? How is the left side different from the right? The quality of the movement in the turning of the head, in the movement of the eyes. And then could you begin to bring yourself oh so slowly onto your right side. So slowly that you could reverse it. And coming into a fetal position. Coming into a fetal position on your right side. With your knees one on top of the other. The left knee is resting on the right. The left foot resting on the right. And let's have the elbows in front and the hands on top of each other, bent up very close to the head. So like you're saying your prayers. And if you need, because the head will be resting on the floor, if you need a cushion or something under your head, please take care of yourself there. And so from this side lying position, with your elbows resting together and your hands resting together, your knees and your ankles together, could you begin to make a tiny, tiny movement of bringing your left hand a little upwards, upwards meaning along the other hand, as though to reach upwards along the floor, but a very, very small movement. Just the beginning of the movement. So the elbow's resting on the other elbow, and then something has to happen in order for that arm to begin to mobilize itself. Where might you be stabilizing? Where do you begin the movement from of sliding the hand upwards? And what throughout yourself hears that? And so with making very, very tiny movements, very, very tiny movements, could you think of initiating the movement of your left arm from your right elbow? So how would you initiate the movement of the arm going up, the left arm going upwards from your right elbow? How might you initiate the movement of your left elbow going away from the right elbow from your left knee? And what happens in the hip joint? Now we're not rolling onto the back. We're just not yet. Some of you must have read my notes. So the left knee initiates the movement of the left elbow. Maybe that's, what about could the right knee initiate the movement of the left elbow? And how do you employ the floor? The right knee doesn't need to straighten necessarily, but something happens that passes through the hip joints and passes through the spine and passes through the ribs and passes through the armpit. Think of two other places. Think of two other places that you could initiate from that would begin the movement of lengthening your arm along the floor overhead. And has anyone used their eyes yet? If not, use your eyes to initiate the movement, the desire to see, the desire to reach, this hand-eye coordination that we begin developing very, very, very early in life. And listening to the spreading of the movement through you. And take a rest on your side. And then come into the same position with the hands in your prayer position, elbows together, resting on the floor, comfortable. And could you begin to move your left elbow away from your left knee and your left knee away from your left elbow? So the elbow goes away from the knee and the knee goes away from the elbow. And come back. And notice what spreads, how the movement spreads through you. So is there any sense of moving forward in yourself? Or is there any sense of lengthening anywhere where another part may be shortening opposite it? And now could you think of not the left elbow going away from the left knee, but the left hand going away from the left foot? The left hand going away from the left foot. And then what about the left hand going away from the left knee? How is that different? What if the left elbow and the left foot move away from each other? The left elbow and the left foot. So how does having a different point of focus change the movement? And let's take a pause. Come again into the same folded up position. And bring the left hand, let the fingers glide along the floor, and the right elbow come away from the right knee and the left knee. It's the left, right? Sorry guys. Your left elbow comes away from your left knee and your left hand comes away from your left foot. And you watch at the very beginning of the movement. You watch your hand. You follow your fingertips as they move away from you and as you come back. Follow your fingertips. So the leg not only is going down, but it starts to go a bit behind you. Starts to go a bit behind you. And you're watching your hand and you're sensing the floor. And sense how you come back. How do you fold up from this beginning of extending, going from short to a longer left side and then coming short again? And some of you are hovering your leg off the floor, and that's fine, but I'm going to invite you to keep your left foot on the floor. And lengthen the leg as you're lengthening the left arm. in a way that it's liquid and it's pouring away from you in a way that allows you to comfortably come back onto your side with never a sense of falling towards the back. So the left foot and the left hand are moving away from each other. You're watching with your eyes, your left hand, and you begin to roll just a tiny bit towards the back. And what happens with your belly? And what happens with your rib cage? How does the relationship of your pelvis change with the floor? So you're opening your left side and beginning to roll to the back, which is exactly the opposite of what we did last week, if you were here. So if you keep looking at your hand, what does this require of your back? What does this require of the muscles of the back? And can you move in a way, because we're so trained from an early age to get there, right? We got to get there. And the process is not, we're interested in the process here. We're interested in the process of the lengthening left side and the folding of it back up and the pouring of a liquid leg that stays in contact with the floor, and the left hand stays in contact with the floor, and the eyes watch the hand as it sweeps overhead and begins to lengthen and create an arc as the leg is arcing downwards and backwards. How would you explore coming all the way onto your back through a very, very long left side? And how does your right side keep you safe? And then how do you come back? And what we look for is the sense that no one part of you is working harder than another. There's no straining in the neck. There's no tension in the jaw. There's no furrowing in the brow. The breath is easy and free. The floor is there. The sun is shining. It's Thursday. You're exploring yourself rolling safely, comfortably, liquidly to a very long left side. And the next time you come onto your back, could you just pause there and lengthen the left side to its apex? From the sole of the foot to the middle of the tip of your middle finger, you're as long can be. And then what's the first thing you do? What is the first thing you do as you begin to bring yourself back onto your right side into a short, fetal, safe position? Where did you look with your eyes? And play with this. Play with this a couple more times. Until it becomes really, really, really comfortable and easy, really smooth. And you don't have to go all the way onto the back. Just go where you feel you have good control. If the right side is long, how are you? I'm sorry. If the left side is long, how are you short on the right side? Where are you short on the right side? How do you shorten the right side to come back onto your right side? When do you begin to fold the limbs and draw them into yourself? And the next time you've extended yourself and you're on your back, let's take a rest there. With your arms down by your sides and your legs long. And now sense the side you've been rolling away from and towards and away from, the right side. How is that side? Compared to the other. And then the place that's neither right nor left. And then could you bring yourself on your left side, comfortably, with your knees drawn up, and your hands together and your elbows together. And for a moment, can you recall the lesson of last week, if you were here? If you weren't here, I'll talk you through it a bit. So last week, we were drawing the back backwards as though a bow, like a bow for a bow and arrow. And could you kind of play with that a little bit on this new side? There was a drawing back of the vertebrae in a very equal way so that the tensile flexion in the front, if you're really drawing back a bow, the tension in the front where it's shortening has to be even all the way through or the bow would break. So how might you round your spine backwards as though it were a bow being drawn by a very sure hand in such a way that the head bows forward and the pubic bone comes towards the head and the spine is rounded backwards like a shrimp, like a nautilus shell. And from this place, could you begin to move your right elbow away from your right knee and feel what is the first thing you do? Does your right knee want to come away from your right elbow? Bring your right elbow away from your right knee the next time. Let them move in opposite directions. Think of the right hand moving away from the right knee. The right hand away from the right foot. The right elbow away from the right foot. And pause. Then could you begin to lengthen the limbs away from each other, but follow the movement of the creeping hand along the floor with your eyes. Watch your right hand as it reaches upwards along the floor and feel what happens, what changes. What do you do with the pelvis? What happens in the ribs? The right leg liquid. It can stay in touch with the floor. The foot can stay in touch with the floor as the leg goes downwards and begins to arc backwards. When does your belly begin to come forward? Or does it? Does your belly come forward? When does the back begin to hollow out? And does it hollow out evenly, or is there one or two places in the back that seem to hollow out a lot more? Well, you can pay attention to those places and think, how could you evenly distribute the effort, the movement, the quality throughout? I see changes already in the wrinkles of the clothing. This is excellent. How do the vertebrae of your spine communicate with each other, bending and flexing? When do you shorten? When do you begin to shorten on the left side? As you follow your hand upwards and you begin to roll, how do you stabilize yourself? How do you keep from falling? How might you employ your head? It's just, you don't have to, but these are just inquiries. How might you employ your head against the floor as you begin this journey towards the back? So that the back of the head could be a bearer of weight. The crown of the head could become a bearer of weight, and the back could become like a bridge. Find your way to the place where you're the longest on the right side, all the way onto your back, all the way onto your back, and feel the length of the right side all the way through the apex reach. And from there, bring yourself back onto your left side. And now go again from this shortened position. Can you make it even shorter in the front? Can you draw the knees towards the elbows towards the knees, the chin towards the chest, the nose towards the pubic bone? And then from that very shortened place, feel the wideness across the spine and the back. Feel the length of the spine. Distributing the movement oh so equally, oh so gradually, oh so liquidly. Could you begin to lengthen your right elbow away from your right knee and watch your hand as it goes upwards, and you begin to bring yourself onto your back. And when you arrive on your back, could you think of the image of a starfish and bring your left leg long and your right leg long. And think of the limbs of the starfish. Your head would be a limb as well. Everything just radiating out from the center. And from that place, could you begin to shorten the opposite side and roll towards it, but bring the side that's long, you keep it long, 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 long. So you're coming onto the left side with the right side going from long to short. And pause there. So both knees will end up drawn up, one on top of the other, the elbows one on top of the other, the hands together. And then again, draw your back like a bow so that the tensile forces in the front are even. The contraction in the front from the tail to the top of the head. Spine bowing back evenly. And from there, begin to develop into a starfish. Slowly, slowly. This took many, many millions of years of evolution. So slowly, 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 access your inner starfish. Feel the energy radiating from the center outwards in all directions evenly. And then how would you begin to contract the opposite side and lengthen the side you're rolling away from? How might you draw the knees in to your center? When do you turn over the heel? When does the forefoot leave the floor? So really paying attention to these minutiae and going from the shortest through a long side to the longest and on to the other side. So it's like you're going long, long, short, short. It's a reciprocal action. The top, the side nearest the ceiling, starts to move, to lengthen. And it comes to its apex, and then the other side comes to its apex, and you're a starfish. And then the opposite side begins to draw in the long side. Draw in, find a way, and listen to how one side, the action, might be very asymmetrical to the other. How you start the movement, how you identify movement, the pattern in yourself may be uniquely different from one side to the other. And this is a pattern that is so old. As soon as a baby comes out into the world, she already has preferences to which way to turn, to which way to look, to which way to roll. So you might notice that you do something different with your belly on one side that you don't do on the other. So look for these unique differences in how you organize yourself from side to side. And then come to your back and just rest with your arms down and find the place that's neither right nor left. Now, if you were to turn your head to look to the right, how would that action be for you now? What do you do with your eyes? If you go to the left, listen for the pattern of the eyes. Listen to how the head bonds with that. Is there anything new or different? Or you might even try a different direction with your eyes to start. Individually look up, try taking them to look directly to the side. So on. Then come to the places on right or left. And then find a way to roll yourself to your side and bring yourself back up to standing slowly. And sense your standing self, the front and the back. How the ground comes up and into you. And where's the place that's neither right nor left? How does that drop through you? Where does it drop through you? Does it drop through you in a different place now? And if you were to bring your weight onto the right side and take a step forward with the left leg, that the process, pay attention to the process. What is your sense of stability? What is your sense of precision? Security onto the leg that must bear all your weight and be responsible. How the left leg takes the floor into it. Do you grow taller? Take a step forward with the right leg. How do you bring the weight over the left side? How do you relinquish the weight from the back leg to bring it more fully onto the forward leg? What part of your foot takes the weight first? Take a step back. Play in between the right side and the left side, stepping forward, stepping back, listening how the ground comes through you, into you. Do you grow taller? Do you grow shorter? Do you feel stable? How does it feel different than what you did earlier?